The Unpopular Hour. Today's show, we're going to talk about some good things. We're going to start off today talking about the big three. How Oklahoma City once had this triple-headed monster with KD, James Harden, and Westbrook. And it's crazy that KD's been in the league 15 years, really 14. He's only played 14 because obviously he missed 1 year because of his ACL. James Harden 13 and Russell 14. Uh, that is just insane. And considering that we had Harden, Westbrook, and KD for only, I think it was just 2 years, but we had KD and Westbrook for nine before KD bounced and had to get out of here because he could no longer play with zero. And, what's so funny is about this, and we're going to talk about each one and what's going on with them, but it's funny how when we're talking about Westbrook, how everything that's now coming to light, all the just deficiencies and all the things that he was doing. He's been doing this all along, and I called it out a long time ago. I called it out about what he was doing and what he wasn't doing, and and it's just funny to me now. All of a sudden, uh, everybody's going, "Oh wow, you were right." Yeah, I know I was right. I know that he could not play. I know that he was messing up. I know all of this. And it's funny to me that now all of a sudden everybody's on the same page that I was on. Well, duh, Westbrook is not the guy. He's out of control. He can't finish at the basket. He can't shoot. But all of his triple doubles, everybody was so enamored with it, they forgot that he led the league. Everything he's doing now, he's always done. And I saw this stat the other day that basically said that that he's had in he's been what 14 years, 6 years he led the league in turnovers. Okay, in 6 more years he led the league in he led the league in uh he led the league in he was second in the league in turnovers. So 1 year he led the league, and the second year or 6 years he led the league in turnovers, and 6 more years he was second. And I think that's hilarious that's the way it is. People are just now coming to for real or coming to head to what I've already known. And I think it's funny that people are just now going, "Oh wow, Matt, you were right. Yes, I know I was right. These are things that I've been saying all along, and now everybody's on the same page that I'm on." You know, and it's funny to me because if you just go back and watch what Westbrook did, he couldn't finish at the basket. He made horrible, 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 horrible decisions. Okay, he could not shoot. I mean, brick, 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 brick. His only deficiency now is he's not making free throws. Before, at least he could make free throws, and now he can't do that. And it's funny that all these people are going, "Oh, look at him. He's this, he's that." Bruh, I've been saying this for 10 years, 12, 14 years. And now that he's all of a sudden declining necessarily athletically, because let's face it, the one thing that's undefeated is father time. It's going to come back and get you. You're not going to be able to finish. There's the things are going to slow down. And once they do, you're in trouble because you have no other part of your game. Now, the one thing you can always say about Russell, he played hard. He gave you 100% without question. There was never a doubt of how hard this man played. There was never a doubt of his heart. But he didn't play defense. And the reason why he got triple doubles is because he was always out of position because he was all about him. He's all about him making his stats. He was never about winning. He's about him. And the reason why he got those extra two triple doubles, especially in Oklahoma City, is because we allowed it. If you'd watch games, it was pathetic how we just block out so he can get those rebounds. Because in the NBA, as a guard, your hardest two things to do is get those last two rebounds. If you're a rebounding guard, you're going to average 8 rebounds a game. But to get those other two for the whole season is very hard. Remember the last game here? He had to have, 32 rebounds in 2 games, and he had 36. And our center had 11. Our center had 11. Our point guard had 36. Why? Because he was interested in stats. And now everything that I've been saying about him for 14 years, especially when he was in Oklahoma City, guess what? Everybody's now going, oh, wow, wow, wow. And I think it was, I forget who it was, Shannon maybe, and he said, Skip Bayless, same thing. Oh, wow, these deficiencies, because we were so enamored about triple doubles, nobody noticed these. I did, because I'm all about the eye test. I don't go about all this stuff. I'm watching what you do on the court. I'm watching how you move. I'm watching what you're doing. Those are the things that I do that that matter to me as a player. And I look at that and I'm like, man, you're driving me crazy. You're absolutely driving me crazy. So anyway, I think it's funny now that all these people are now all of a sudden agreeing with stuff that people dismiss me. Oh, Matt, you're a hater. Blah, blah, blah. Now they're like, well, you were right. Yes, I know. Now on to James. James is out of shape. And now that the rules have changed, now he's out of shape. Why? Because now all of a sudden his deficiencies are coming to light. Now I think if James Harden was in shape, he'd be a lot better. He got to New Jersey this year out of shape. Like he's gonna play himself, dude. You're not that guy anymore. Okay? You're not 21. You're not 19. It doesn't happen that way. You can't do that sort of thing. You've got to get in shape. You've got to get better. And James is not doing that. And now all of a sudden he's not scoring as well as he did. He's struggling, which of course we knew that he would. And I think it's funny. That when the NBA took away his ability to fake fouls and to get all these free throws, I think it's funny that all of a sudden now he's in shape. You know, don't y'all find that interesting? Sorry about that. I was returning a text, but anyway, I think it's funny now. All of a sudden, this is what you see. And James Harden, the older you get, your athleticism fades. It just does. I don't care. You look at LeBron. He doesn't dunk like he used to. You look at Kobe. You look at Dr. J. You look at all these guys, Vince Carter, all of them. Well, Vince was a freak. But for the most part, you look at everybody. At some point, you get into your early 30s, the wear and tear of the NBA season catches up to you. And these guys with nutrition and all that has allowed them to play longer. But when you look at Westbrook and you look at Harden, once their athleticism goes, then they're in trouble. And that's why James is a diminishing return. But then when you look at trades, and we'll talk about trades here in a little bit, you know, do you want to trade Harden for Ben Simmons? Well, why would Harden not want to go play for Daryl Morey, his old GM in Houston? Why would he not want to play with arguably, if not the best, the second top two big men in the NBA? Because that fella he got there, he's a monster. Now, does he stay? How healthy will they be between him and Harden? Or Embiid and Harden? Who knows? Neither one of them can seem to stay healthy. But Embiid needs to get in better shape and stay in conditioning in off season. They get him a trainer. Dude, you make it 20 whatever million. Pay him, spend $1 million on your body, nutritionist and all that. Get yourself in shape. Maintain that. Get you somebody that can help you stretch and do yoga and things like that because you're big to help you stay healthier through the whole season. Because he's a monster. And I think that when you look at Ben Simmons and Embiid, when they're on the court, they're not as good together, but separately they're both monsters. Now, do I think that Simmons could help New Jersey? Well, of course I do. Because then all of a sudden that allows Kyrie to be Kyrie and allows KD to be KD. But now, is KD going to come back after his injury? Because you look at New Jersey, they're a mess. And I don't blame Harden for wanting out or not being happy. I came here to play with KD and Kyrie. Now Kyrie doesn't want to take the shot. So by him not taking the shot, guess what? That hurts your team because you're only here half a year. You're only playing half the games. And there's what, 30 games left, a little bit over 30, whatever games left, 30-something, 33 games left. and you're not going to be eligible? Half of those? Yeah, it's causing problems on their team. And now New Jersey on the other side, do you wish you hadn't traded for Harden because you gave up everything? Do you wish that you had the guys back? But I think for Harden, it may be a good thing for him to get out of there because it's so dysfunctional there. Does KD want to come back knowing that they're leaving? Do you want to re-sign Kyrie to a sign and trade? Do you want to do the same thing with Jaden or James? Or do you want to lose them both? And then KD's left stuck there by himself. I mean, there's a lot of things to consider, but James Harden needs to leave because of the way he doesn't look. He doesn't look like he's happy. He's out of shape. And the dude, I'm not a James Harden fan, never have been personally. I like his game, but I've never been a fan of him personally, and I will admit that. In person, I think he's a jerk. But that's mainly my experience with him. Your experience could be something different, but my experience, and a lot of people I know, he's an asshole. He's a jerk. So, to me, I wouldn't mind him leaving and moving on to do something else. And it may be plus he's playing for his old guy, Maury, which will help him. And he's playing for Doc Rivers. But the question is, what are they going to want in return? Are they going to want Seth Curry? Well, we know Doc ain't wanting to give up his son-in-law because his daughter and his grandkids are there in Philly. So why would he want to give that up? Just to get James. But at the same time, who's going to give him a better chance to win? James Harden, Seth Curry. Clearly James is. If James will get in shape and get his mind right, that's a whole different question. So I look at the arc of Westbrook and Harden. They're both diminishing returns right now because athletically they're starting to slow down. Russell and all of his deficiencies that he's always had are coming to light. And now with James, with the new rule change, he doesn't get those ticky-tack calls and falling down and flopping all over the place and all that. And, he actually has to go finish at the rim now. Well, hey, I can tell you, when I got done playing and I'm 15 pounds overweight, bro, you just don't glide through the lane like you used to. You don't dunk like you used to. You don't move as fast as you used to in your 30s. It is what it is. Father Time is undefeated. And so those are things that slowly starting to get to James, and you can watch him and you can see all those things happening. Now, KD, on the other hand, he's just a monster. He's just a beast. And I've said it many times that Oklahoma City made a huge decision, a huge mistake by picking Russell Westbrook over Harden. Over Westbrook over KD. Now they can say they did, but they clearly did. They can say whatever they want to, but that's not the case. When you look at KD and you look at what he was about, and when you look at the way he changed in his whole demeanor and everything that he did, you can just tell he was not happy that they chose Westbrook over him. How the hell I don't know what they were seeing, but he's a once-in-a-generational type player. 7 foot with unlimited range, beautiful jump shot, can put the ball on the floor, take it to drill, plays defense. Everybody say he didn't play defense in Oklahoma. Well, when he got to go to state, he played defense, which means he's capable. But you got to put him in a situation where everybody's playing defense. And he's like, why the hell do I want to play defense when your number one guy, Russell Westbrook, don't want to play defense? Why the hell do I want to play defense? I wouldn't want to play defense either. If you ain't going to make this guy play, he's your boy. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Now, people get mad at me when I say this. KD, I don't blame him for leaving. You keep Westbrook and you keep him over Harden. That decision I understood. This stuff about Ibaka and all that, I don't buy that for a minute. You had KD, Harden, Westbrook. All of them are ball dominant. Especially Westbrook at that time. And he knew he was the leader, and he knew what Oklahoma City wanted. So he was the leader. It was his team, and that's the way it was. So you had to make a decision. And I will say this, and I believe this to the deep crevices of my being. Had James Harden not choked against Miami in the finals, I believe they would have traded Westbrook at that point instead of James. I believe that with everything inside of me. But James choked. And we all know that now his sample size later is that he doesn't perform in the playoffs. Whereas KD is just an absolute monster. And everybody gets mad at KD because he left. Well, KD left for one simple reason. He was second fiddle here. And he clearly was the second best player in the league. But everybody was enamored with Westbrook. Look how hard he plays. I'm like, he don't play defense. He goes 100% with the ball, no question, when he got the ball in his hand. Can't finish at the rim. He can't shoot. And at the end of games, I've always said, and me and my boy Randy Wright have talked about this forever and ever and ever. We'd love to keep Westbrook in the game until the last 3 minutes, take him out. Get us there, brick boy. We'll take it home. You see what the Lakers are doing, right? The Lakers are pulling him out and not playing him so they can win games. They put in Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves can't play. He can't guard nobody. Reggie Jackson looked at him and laughed, went up to the basket, score. Clippers win at the buzzer. On layup. He goes, I've got Westbrook and Austin Reeves guard me, please. And that's another guy we had, Reggie Jackson, who's gone. But we know he left because of Westbrook, and I completely understand Sam Presti. I would have got rid of the jerk too. But KD, he's a once-in-a-generational player. He left because of that. And then where is he going to go? Everybody's like, oh, they beat us. We choked against them. And he went there to go to state. No. Where was he going to go? There was only a couple places he could go to get a chip. So he went to the best team, and he was the best player on the best team. And let me clue you all, you people who don't understand basketball. Let me clue you into something. Basketball is the one sport that you know if you're better than somebody else. And you know if somebody's better than you. There's no question. Okay? So all these people come out and say all these things they want to. In basketball, you know if somebody's better than you. And you know if you're better than somebody. You practice against them every day. There's no question. It's just like when Jordan and the Dream Team played. And Magic and Bird and them say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. Jordan was the best player. When y'all get together, there's no question who's better than somebody else. Ain't nowhere to hide. It's not like in football. You got 11 on 11 and whatever. And I agree with my boy PJ. Football, you can't have the GOAT in football because if you're on offense, when the hell you tackle somebody? If you're on defense, when the hell you tackle somebody? Or score a touchdown to win games. So you can't have a GOAT in football because there's 22 people. So that's why I did that show on the GOAT doing running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive line, defensive backs. Offensive line, I'm going to probably have to go revisit that because I got in trouble with some people about that. So I need to go back and revisit offensive linemen and who I would pick for offensive linemen. But that being said, back to KD. He went to Golden State. He was the best player on Golden State's team over Curry, without question, over Thompson, and for sure over Draymond Green. Now, why did Golden State want him? Because the year before, Golden State had the best record in the NBA. The Thunder almost beat them. But like I said, everybody blames KD. Well, Russell shot more than KD did at the end of that Game 5. But they went from attacking the basket the whole game, because I never forget, I was at Jack Daniels bar, which I always would go at halftime. Me and my girl Jennifer Falkenstein, we'd always be down there. And my Thunder wife is what I call her. And we'd always be there. And we'd hang out. And these guys are like, oh, look. I said, dude, I love what we're doing. We're attacking the basket, causing Bogut to come over. And then he's coming over, leaving our big man, which was Adams. And then he could get the tip in, or we had Ibaka. So they were cleaning up on the other end. So, and Cephalosha as well, because our guards were bigger than theirs. We had bigger people. So every time Russell or KD would attack, even though we'd miss, we got the rebound for the putback. That's why we were winning. The last 5 minutes, that did not happen. That completely changed. And that was the reason why we lost. The last 5 minutes, 45 minutes, I wanted to say we took, 14 jump shots? Or 13 jump shots, 8 by Russell, 5 by Kevin. That's why we lost the ball game. And then Clay went ballistic. But that's why we lost the ball game. It's because we went to be a jump shooting team. It's kind of like the Thunder right now. Hey, attack the basket, which we did a great job last night. Hope you had a chance to watch after the storm and my analysis of that game. But the Thunder are doing exactly what I said they should do all year long. Quit shooting as many threes. Take the shots when you're open for three. Without question, you're open, shoot it. But be in attack mode. Or the guy runs at your pump fake, take one dribble, shoot the mid range. You don't have to go all the way to the basket because we're not that good at finishing. We're not that good at shooting threes, and we're not that good at finishing. But anyway, back to KD. That's what happened. Golden State wanted him because they knew Cleveland got beat them the year before, and clearly it was because of Draymond Green missing Game 5 for kicking LeBron in the privates, which was an idiot move. So he was suspended for that game. They won. They got on a roll, and it was over. They were up 3-1, lose Game 7, because anything can happen in a Game 7. But they got KD for that specific reason. And what happened? KD, in Game 4, there was no Steph Curry, there was no Klay Thompson, and there was no Draymond Green. They all played, but they were just on the court and body. They were not there in any other way. And KD shut them down, closed the door in order for them to win the ball game and win the chip. And he came back the next year, win the chip. And, of course, Draymond gets all pissed off, has an attitude towards KD because KD was taking all the limelight away from him because, let's face it, Draymond Green wasn't nothing until the Warriors started. Then all of a sudden, his ego puffed up, and KD came in, he's back to nothing again. So it went from the big three to the big three without him. And since then, guess what? They've been downhill. But they've done a great job because they have a great organization. They did a great job of bringing them back. But when you look at that, KD is just an absolute monster. And I truly believe that if Harden hadn't choked, we got rid of Westbrook, and we kept Ibaka, KD, and Harden, to this day, forget all that small market crap that you hear about on the sports channel and all that nonsense. That's a bunch of bullshit. Okay? Bunch of crap. People will come here to play with KD and Harden and Ibaka. People would have came to Oklahoma City because they want to win. People are going to go wherever the chance they have to win, and who the hell don't want to play with KD? So that's a bunch of crap. Don't listen to that. It's nonsense. Okay? That's people running their mouths. That's nonsense. Okay? Small market has zero to do with it. If you got the players and you're doing what you need to do, you'll win. People go to Milwaukee. People go to Utah. It's about winning. And if you're winning and if somebody has a chance to win, they will go there, especially it depends on who's they're playing. So that matters big time right there. So when I look at that, I'm saying, man, it's a bunch of crap here. But I love what KD did. I completely understand. I didn't really understand him going to New Jersey, but to play with Kyrie, I kind of saw that. But Kyrie he's a different cat. And now being a different cat is killing them because he won't take the shot. And everybody has the ability to do what they want. If you want to take the shot, great. You don't want to take the shot, fine. But in a team sport, you not taking a shot and understanding the rules, you're hurting your team. You're throwing away a year. And a year, I believe, James Harden would have been in shape. He would have been ready to play. But instead, with Kyrie out, half in, half out, all the chaos, and you can just see his frustration. But it's funny, of those three, KD is still the monster of those three because he was the monster before that. And everybody fell in love with Russell and his hustle. Well, where's his hustle getting him now? Not playing in the last 3 minutes, which is what I said he should have been doing when he's in Oklahoma City. But we weren't going to do that to him. Nobody wants him. He's basically untradeable unless you're going to eat his contract. He's going to get $48 million to do that. It's funny. So, but anyway, hey, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little about the Thunder trade and a little bit about Big 12 basketball. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Okay, so the trade rumors for the Thunder. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do if we're going to make any. But one of the guys I wanted, Norman Powell, is at the Clippers now. He's one of the guys that I wanted the Thunder to trade for. I really liked him from Portland, but it looks like that he is going to be a Clipper now. And but anyway, that's one of the guys. So I'm assuming that Sam Presti and the Thunder are going to just go through the draft to get people. And if you can get us another Josh Giddey, I'd be extremely happy about that. No more Baisleys. Get rid of him. No more of that. Give me some more Giddey. We did not draft SGA because we did not draft that high, so we didn't get him. But give me another SGA. Give me another Giddey. Give me somebody who can shoot. Find me a big guy. If you're not going to trade for him, go in the draft. Go into the draft. Let's get a couple bigs, or at least one big who can do something. Diakite is getting better and better and better as he's coming along. So we need bigs. So let's go get something, because clearly, the deadline is what this weekend. So or what 2 days? What's the day? The 8th, 9th. So Thursday is the deadline. So let's go get us somebody, guys. If we're not going to get anybody, then let's get in the trade. I'm fine with that. But I don't want no more damn European players. I don't want no more of that mess. Give me some guys who can play. Okay? Give me some athletes who can go up and down. And the reason why Golden State has rebounded after their 2-year kind of lull, after they lost KD and Clay got hurt, basically what happened is they went through the draft and look, they got some guys that can play. They're long, they're athletic, and they can shoot. Whereas we're long and athletic and we can't play defense, we can't shoot. Basically, he's here and there and he's up and down. But no, the eye test, okay? I don't listen to that nonsense. I look at what I see. My eyes never lie. They will tell me whether you can play and whether you can't play, period. And anybody who's been around me and knows me well will know that, hey, if I'm saying something, if I'm telling you about somebody, if I'm saying something, it's right. Now, I do have a couple friends that they're hard-headed, whatever they believe, and they always say, well, I believe what I believe, and nobody's going to change my mind. I believe what I believe, too. But if somebody has a legitimate point, I'm going to at least take into consideration and listen to them and think, well, you're probably right. But I've got friends, their opinion and what they think is law. That's crazy to me. I'm going to have my opinion and I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe, but at the same time, hey, sometimes stuff happens. Hey, sometimes somebody has a different opinion and their opinion might be right. You have to be open these days. But anyway, with trades, I don't know what the Thunder's going to do. I hope that we be smart and we get some players and we draft some, and I'm assuming that's what we're going to do, but we shall see. On the other side of that, when I look at Big 12 basketball, KU in the men's 8-2, Baylor 7-3, Tech 7-3, Texas 7-4. And there's some huge games coming up, okay? And by the way, KU lost to Texas last night at Texas. So KU has Baylor coming up at home. So that's going to be interesting. They have Baylor and Texas, both of them at home. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Oklahoma State's going to play TCU this week. And I hope my boys win. Right now they're in spoiler mode. Since we're not going to go to the Big 12 tournament, you might as well step up and do something. I look at Tech versus OU. As at OU, I don't know how well the Sooners are going to be able to come since they're basically at the bottom this year. And they're a lot better than I think what people give them credit for. They got a new head coach, so I like them. I think they've got some potential. But Tech is, man, they're deep, they're strong, and man, I was watching their crowd the other day. It reminded me back in the day at Stillwater, how Stillwater used to rock it, and how crazy and wild it used to be. And I miss that because, man, I remember when it was wild. I remember when it was crazy. It was just insane back in the day what was happening. So I remember that now. But anyway, I love their crowd there at Tech. It's not quite as crazy as Stillwater, but damn, it sure is really, really close when Gallagher Iba was rocking and the students were going crazy. Then you have Texas versus Baylor, which is going to be a huge game. It's at Baylor, and I think both teams definitely have to have a win. Texas, if they want to stay in the hunt. Baylor, obviously, if they want to keep Kansas close to them, they're going to have to do that. So that's going to be interesting. On the women's side, you got Iowa State rolling at 9-2. OU back on the saddle, back on the hump again at 9-2. Baylor 7-3. K State 7-3. And when I look at the remaining schedule of the teams they've got to win, Iowa State plays OU and Baylor, but both of them at home. And what I've always said, you got to protect the home surface. You got to protect yourself at home. Got to get that W at the house. Okay? You can go win on the road or whatever, get some here and there, but you got to win your games at home. OU has K-State left at home. And OU will remember what happened to them up in Manhattan. Girl went for 61 on them. So I don't know if that's going to happen to them again. I think OU will make some changes and do something different and just not like, hey, okay, you just do what she's going to do against them. Now Baylor has Baylor and Kansas State. That's going to be interesting, but they do have them at home, and that's going to make a difference. They got to go to Kansas State. So having a team at home, K-State, having Baylor at home, and them leapfrogging them into the third position is going to be a huge thing for them. So they've got to watch themselves on that. Baylor also has to play at Iowa State. I definitely will probably watch that game. That's going to be a great basketball game. And then, of course, K-State has Baylor and at OU. So that's going to be interesting. But I'm going to love K-State and Baylor this week. I'm going to enjoy that. And I know a lot of people don't like girls basketball. I like women's basketball. I like women's basketball. I like the WNBA. Now, the difference between men's basketball and women's basketball is really simple. It's not complicated. The difference between men's basketball and women's basketball is athleticism. But there are some athletic women who are out there playing. They're just not as athletic as men. But I do like watching girls basketball or women's basketball. I do like it. But they're just not as flamboyant as men. They're just not as athletic as far as high flying. But they're athletic. They do spin moves. They do between legs. They do step backs. They do reverses. They do floaters. They do teardrops. They do no-look passes. They do behind-the-back passes. It's a beautiful thing. But it's more basketball than it is athleticism. And the WNBA is even just like that. It's like college basketball and women's basketball are more fundamentally sound than the NBA or WNBA. Because the women are simply more athletic. The men are way more athletic. Because you take, in high school, I always tell somebody, you're one of 10,000. In college, you're one of 1,000. In the pros, you're one of 100. Everybody does what you do. So you have to work on your game and improve what you do really well and make sure you can do that even better. And when you look at men's and women's sports, that's the only difference between the two. Really simply is that one is more athletic than the other. And that's basically it. It really is. So, but anyway, let's drop on to the NFL and let's talk about there were 9 openings for coaches this year. 2 of them have been filled by minority coaches, Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins and Lovie Smith. And it's crazy because this is Lovie's 3rd stop. He was at Chicago, which of course they went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman as his quarterback, which I don't even know how that happened. And then, of course, he went to Tampa Bay, set that up, and got them going. And then this is going to be his 3rd job at Houston, which, you don't have a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, I don't care what kind of coach you are. You look at Bill Belichick, one of the best defensive minds in the history of the game. Without a quarterback, you ain't going to get it done. You gotta have a quarterback. You got to have playmakers on the outside. Now, Bill is so great at dissecting quarterbacks. He does a great job, especially with younger quarterbacks, taking away what they really do, making them do that second, third, fourth read, sometimes third and fourth read, and they just can't get there. They can't process the game because it's way too fast. So he does a great job of that. But what I found is Mike McDaniel, I laughed and go, oh, well, he's multiracial. Let me see. Back in the day, and back in was it not the Constitution, but it talks about if you had 1 drop of black blood, you were black. 1 drop. That means Your ancestor from your ancestor from your ancestor from your ancestor from your ancestor, great, 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 great. If you got one drop, you're black. Now you're multiracial. Isn't it funny how times have changed? It just cracks me up. But anyway, I wish him all the well. But to me, the game is going more offensive-minded coaches. Defensive coaches, you can be great. I just don't think, unless you get a great offensive coordinator, I don't see very many defensive coordinators getting jobs. Now, Lovie Smith got the job. He's a defensive guy without question. Chicago's defense is good, but like I said, you've got a good quarterback that's young. He's athletic. He's got a lot of potential. But you got to get him the right offensive coordinator that can get him to the next level. You have no offensive line, so he's going to be running for his life. So you got to fix that. So there's some issues that they have there that he's going to have to fix. Lovie Smith is. So you got a decent quarterback, maybe. We don't really know what he's done. I mean, he had a decent year, but what do you really have? We have no idea what Deshaun Watson's going to do. If he's going to be back, another year wasted away with Houston. If you don't want the guy, get rid of him. Trade him. If you ain't going to play him, why are you wasting him away? You're paying him all this money. He ain't even playing. And all you doing is helping his body stay healthy. That's all you're doing. You're not hurting him. You're hurting yourself. But I understand the situation, which is horrible, but you're innocent until proven guilty. So I think that he's going to have to figure out something, whether settle with these women or whatever, but you got to do something to get yourself back eligible in order to get back in the league. You got to do something. Talk about Deshaun Watson. So when I look at these openings and offensive-minded, there's the minority coaches are mainly defensive. But there's a pretty good offensive mind there in Tampa Bay, Brian Leftwich. Now, Eric Bieniemy, like I said, I don't think he interviews well. I don't really – something about the guy, when I watch him do interviews, there's something about him. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just something about him that is different or whatever. I can't really understand what that is, but there's something about him. I haven't seen really Byron Leftwich in his interviews. I probably need to go look at that. But you got to interview well. Now, there's guys who do interview well who can't coach themselves out of a box, out of a cardboard box. Can't coach themselves out of a phone booth. Young people, I don't know if y'all remember what a phone booth is, but us older people, we know what a phone booth is. So that's a point. But for a lot of these black coaches, minority coaches, they're defensive guys. Mike Tomlin, defensive guy. Ron Rivera, defensive guy. But what do? Get good offensive coordinators, and they both, Mike Tomlin had a great quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, except for the last 3 or 4 years, which he's been a shell of himself. So he did a great job of coaching, considering he's never had a losing season. That's huge to say in the 13 years or whatever he's been, 2 Super Bowl appearances. So that's interesting the way he does that. But anyway, today is Tuesday. Remember the 8th. Go vote if you're in Oklahoma City. Vote for the mayor. Look at both candidates or multiple candidates, whatever it is. Vote for whoever you want to. But don't go by all the stuff that people are saying on TV. Read what they're about. What are their issues? What can they help you do? But don't sit at home. Go vote. Because if stuff goes bad, you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself for not going out to vote. And I'm going to go take baby girl to the vet, and then I'm heading straight over to vote myself. So remember, that's your right. People may be trying to take that away from you, so you better make sure you have the right people in office who are on your side, who believe what you believe. So I saw a stat the other day that there was only 25,000 people voted in the last election for mayor. What? 600,000 people? Don't go say 25,000 voted? Get up, get your butt out, and go vote for the mayor. Whoever it is, whichever one you want to vote for, that's up to you. I know who I'm voting for, and that's my personal business, and I think voting should be personal, not something public. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. Peace. See you tomorrow.